live Instagram and Facebook, and in YouTube, of course. Today's live, I decided to go with Thursday instead of going with Wednesday. I just kind of wanted to see if the engagement would be a little bit different, or what kind of audience would come out. So here we are, Thursday live. 3 questions. I think they're pretty straight to the point. Let's jump right into them. First one: have prices dropped in the Greater Toronto area? Yeah, prices have definitely dropped since the peak in February. I do think that each market is super different, so every micro market within the market definitely is different. So, if a price has dropped since February, it's not as easy to just put a blanket statement of like, oh, Toronto prices have dropped, whatever, 20%. It's really dependent on an area by area basis. So every single area totally different, some more than others, of course. And, depending where you are in the downtown core, some less, some higher. So definitely case by case basis, those micro markets are super important. You can't just paint that blanket statement of like all prices in Toronto have dropped by X percentage, because every single market super different. Every micro market also super different. And that kind of goes into the next thing is, are these houses more affordable? And, depends what your thought of affordability is. If you're saying, okay, I want house prices to be, $800,000 instead of $1 million. And if that to you is an affordable price, well, it's not just the purchase price that comes into play here. A big factor is the monthly cost. And I actually ran the numbers about from $1 million back in February at a 2.5% interest rate, 25-year AM. And the monthly cost for that property, conventional 20% down, was give or take around, $3,584 a month, $3,584 a month. Your down payment would be $200,000, and your land transfer would be about just under $33,000 in Toronto. I know we do have double. It does suck. Not denying that. But if we look at today, like the same monthly cost. So if you wanted to get that same 35, actually this one's 35.83. So if you wanted to save $1 per month, your purchase price at a 5% interest rate would have to be $770,000 to get the exact same monthly payment. Now, here's the kicker: is that your down payment is almost 50 grand less, and your land transfer taxes is almost $10,000 less, give or take. So $154,000 is a 20% down payment on 770, and $23,750 is your land transfer here in Toronto. Of course, it's double, with 20% down. So that's not including any of the first-time buyer incentives, anything like that. So just straight up conventional, let's say. So, I mean, on a purchase price standpoint, you're saving almost 60 grand in closing costs and down payment combined, which is a pretty significant amount of money, especially as an entry point. And that's something, not to shy away from. Like, if you can carry that monthly cost, and the monthly cost is the same, and you're saving, let's say $230,000, on average, let's say if the prices have gone down 25%, which is that's about 25% of a drop. I personally would recommend, it's always, if you can get a better purchase price than a monthly price, that obviously, over time, that payment can change with interest rates the way they change, either up or down, of course. But also, it's just a, better point of entry, let's say, especially for those first time buyers who may have been sitting on the sidelines and trying to catch up with the down payments. But this is a great way that they can like get into the market, let's say with a less down payment, 50 grand down payment difference and $10,000 land transfer difference. If you can get that same property today, instead of paying $1 million back in February, if you can get something similar today for, around that $775,000, $800,000 mark, not too bad. So something to consider for your buyers. Obviously for sellers, also micro market, case by case basis for sure on each and every property. Next question. What do I think as an investor right now? So a couple factors that go into play from an investor standpoint, and full disclosure, I do own rental properties. I'm a landlord. I've been for several years. I've never really paid a ton of attention on interest rates because they go up and down. And my biggest thing as an investor is the purchase price and the carry cost. What's going to cost me? So obviously the interest rates are going to change, and that's going to factor into it. And I want to have a bit of a buffer there. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if I'm buying a condo, what's the condo fee? What's the taxes? What is, the hard costs that I'm going to have every single month? And on the flip side, how much can I get for rent for that property? So in the last 2 years, especially, everybody knows what was going on in the last 2 years. Rents were very low. They were super low, definitely dropped significantly from 2019. Right now, they're extremely high. So if you can maybe lock in a property at, 20, 25% down, depending on what your lender would require from a down payment standpoint, you might have a chance to cash flow right now on a condo based on the purchase price, the carry cost, and also the rental income. We're seeing some properties right now rent for $2,500, $2,600, $2,700 a month, one bedroom. So, it's something to factor in if you are an investor kind of looking to get into the market and you've been waiting on the sidelines. And actually this month I'm doing a Reels, 25 days of Reels, my 25 keys for investors. First one, what is your why? The second one that I'll pop up tomorrow is know your numbers. Know your numbers 100%. That is the key to investing. Numbers over emotion every single time. Third one, this one keeps coming up every week, is, how's the rental market? I think we just covered that. It's crazy. Still is crazy. People still multiple bids. I'm seeing multiple bids. I'm seeing over ask offers. I'm seeing multiple offers on properties. I mean, it's nuts out there. Renters, have your paperwork in order. We've covered that many times. Not something we're going to touch on today, but paperwork in order. Make sure you take the right steps. Landlords, this is key. So if you are an investor and obviously looking to be a landlord, if that's what you want to do, is that as an investor, like, you have to have the right advice. And another one of the points that I will get to in those reels is, like, you got to build your team. Great mortgage broker, great realtor. You need a great accountant and a great lawyer. And when you are working with a realtor, make sure that they know the ins and outs of how to get the most dollar for your property when coming back to market on the rental. And make sure they know the rules, and make sure they can help guide you with the paperwork and all that stuff. And you know exactly what you're getting into. Most importantly, make sure they help you find the best tenant. Make sure they do all the checks and all the credit checks, and they run their own credit checks. Believe it or not, we have seen a few fraudulent credit checks come in, which sucks. Honestly, that really sucks. And call the employments, make sure they're still currently employed, currently working at these jobs, and call the references, all that stuff, and call the landlords, all the usual stuff. But make sure you do those checks every single time. Every single offer gets their own checks. And if you don't have the time to do the checks on the day that you get the offers, put it in a condition to give yourself an extra 2 days to do those checks. So something to think about too, if you are a landlord, working with a professional who can help you navigate is huge. Oh, and get professional photos, please do it for the sake of your own unit. Get those pro photos. You'll keep those photos the entire the time that you have the property. Always great for if you want to turn it back around, get back on the market. Get those photos done right away. Looks like that might be it for today. Those are your 3 questions. Hope everyone has an awesome week. Here we go, September, 4 months left in 2022. Make sure you go out and crush it. If you've been procrastinating and haven't got something done this year that you said you would do on January 1st, next thing you know, we're going to be back January 1st, 2023. So there's still time. Get started. Better to get started and maybe not complete it than not start at all. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week on live.